In the quiet corridors of St. Mary's Care Facility, where the air carried the faint scent of antiseptic and faded memories, Judy Thompson began her night shift like any other. It was a rainy evening in early autumn, the kind where thunder rolled distantly and the world outside felt miles away from the sterile world within. Judy, at 24, had once dreamed of stages lit by spotlights and audiences hushed by her voice. Born in a small town on the outskirts of Chicago, she grew up with music as her constant companion. Her father, a factory worker with a secret love for jazz, would play old records on weekends, teaching her to hum along to Nat King Cole and Ella Fitzgerald. "Your voice is a gift, kiddo," he'd say, his calloused hands clapping softly after her impromptu performances in their cramped living room. But life had a way of silencing dreams. After high school, Judy moved to the city, chasing gigs in dimly lit lounges. Her voice, warm, velvety, with a subtle ache that made listeners lean in, was her ticket to something bigger. She landed regular spots at places like the Velvet Moon, where smoke curled around the piano and tips came in folded bills from appreciative strangers. It was there she met Darren, a smooth-talking manager who promised the world recordings, tours, a real shot at fame. She fell for him, hard and fast, handing over her savings and her heart. But one morning, he was gone, along with her money, her guitar, and her trust. Devastated, Judy retreated from the spotlight. Bills piled up, and desperation led her to caregiving. The agency placed her at St. Mary's, where the work was grueling but steady. She cared for the elderly, the forgotten, those teetering on the edge of life. It paid the rent, but it left her soul hollow. On this particular night, the nurse at the desk handed her the chart for room 208. "Mr. Henry Raymond," she said flatly. "Stroke victim. Non-responsive for months. Vitals stable, but don't expect miracles." Judy nodded, tightening her cardigan against the chill. The hallway lights buzzed faintly as she approached the door, pushing it open to a room bathed in dim glow from a bedside lamp. Rain streaked the window, casting shadows across the bed where Henry lay, his silver hair unkempt, his eyes open but vacant. He was in his late 70s, a man who once commanded concert halls as a renowned violinist. But now, he was a shell, staring into oblivion. Judy approached slowly, her footsteps soft on the linoleum. She placed her hand on his, feeling the coolness of his skin. "Hello, Mr. Raymond," she whispered. "I'm Judy. I'll be here with you tonight." No response. Just the steady beep of the monitor. Something stirred in her. A memory of her father in his final days, alone in a similar room. She hadn't made it in time to sing for him. Without overthinking, she pulled up a chair and began to sing. "Smile though your heart is aching." Her voice was tentative at first, a gentle thread weaving through the silence. But as the notes flowed, they gained strength, filling the room with warmth. She sang Nat King Cole's "Smile," a song her father loved, one that spoke of perseverance amid pain. Tears pricked her eyes, but she continued, pouring her loneliness into the melody. Unbeknownst to her, outside the door, Logan Raymond paused. At 33, Logan was the epitome of success, a tech CEO whose company revolutionized data analytics, amassing a fortune in the billions. Tall, with sharp features and a perpetual air of detachment, he had inherited his father's discipline but none of his passion for music. Henry's tours had left Logan with a distant father and a mother who tried to fill the void until her sudden death when he was 12. Resentment built walls. Logan excelled in business, but emotions were liabilities. He visited sporadically, handling finances from afar. Tonight, he came to drop paperwork, not expecting to linger. But the voice stopped him, a soft, haunting melody drifting from the room. Peering through the crack, he saw her, a young woman with blonde hair, singing to his father as if he were the only audience that mattered. It hit him like a forgotten chord. His mother used to sing that song. Logan lingered in the shadows, his heart tightening. As Judy finished, the room fell silent again. She squeezed Henry's hand, whispered goodnight, and left. Logan slipped inside moments later, sitting where she had. The air felt changed, infused with something intangible. "Who are you?" he murmured to the empty space. For the first time, he stayed, contemplating the man he barely knew. The rain continued, but inside, a subtle shift had begun, a melody reawakening echoes of the past. As days turned into weeks, Judy's routine at St. Mary's solidified, but room 208 became her quiet sanctuary. She sang to Henry every shift, choosing songs that felt right, jazz standards, ballads of love and loss. It wasn't about performance. It was therapy for her soul, a way to reclaim the music Darren had stolen. Little did she know, her voice was weaving a web beyond the room's walls. Logan returned nightly, positioning himself just outside, listening intently. Each song chipped at his armor. One evening, he arrived early and overheard Judy humming Moon River, a tune his father composed variations of during rare home stays. Memories flooded, childhood nights eavesdropping on Henry's practice sessions, the violin's mournful cry filling their grand but empty house. Logan's resentment softened. He began researching his father's career, discovering archived recordings and reviews praising Henry's emotional depth. Meanwhile, Judy's life outside work was sparse, a tiny apartment, microwave meals, and occasional calls home. She avoided music scenes, fearing reminders of betrayal. But singing for Henry reignited a spark. One night, after a particularly emotional rendition of What a Wonderful World, she confided in a colleague about her past gigs. Word spread subtly among staff. Logan, piecing together snippets from nurses, learned her name and backstory. Intrigued, he anonymously donated to the facility's music program, including a restored piano for the common room. Their paths crossed inevitably. One late shift, Judy exited the room to find Logan lingering. Startled, she apologized for singing loudly. He reassured her, introducing himself. The conversation flowed awkwardly at first, but Logan's admission, that her voice reminded him of his mother's, bridged the gap. They talked about music's power, Henry's violin days, and Judy's lost dreams. Logan shared his estrangement. He was always touring. "I felt like an afterthought." Judy empathized, recounting her father's death and unspoken regrets. A bond formed. Logan proposed singing lessons, wanting to connect with Henry through music. Skeptical but touched, Judy agreed. Sessions began in the staff lounge, Judy teaching breaths, notes, and emotion, Logan fumbling but persistent. Laughter punctuated mistakes, easing years of isolation for both. Logan brought dinners, recalling casual mentions of her favorites. Gestures deepened. He fixed her leaky faucet. She shared old playlists. Attraction simmered, unspoken but palpable. Henry's condition remained static, but the facility buzzed with subtle changes. Residents requested Judy's songs. Staff noted Logan's frequent visits. One session, Logan gifted a vintage microphone, remembering her wistful glance at an antique shop. Overwhelmed, Judy accepted, suggesting a mini concert. They performed for residents. Smile. Can't help falling in love. Applause warmed them. Whispers of romance circulated. Post-performance, Logan confessed, "Your voice healed more than my father. It healed me." Their connection solidified, blending vulnerability and hope. But life intervened. Logan received an overseas offer, a 3-year stint in Switzerland leading a merger. It promised prestige, but threatened their budding relationship. Telling Judy, he saw her mask pain with support. "It's your dream," she said. Heartbroken, he prepared to leave, visiting Henry one last time. Alone, he sang Smile, voice cracking with farewell. Unseen, Henry's eyes fluttered, a subtle response, but Logan departed unaware. The next morning, nurses discovered Henry alert, whispering Logan. Judy called him immediately. Shocked, Logan abandoned the deal, rushing back. Reunited, father and son shared a tearful moment. Henry's recovery accelerated, therapy, conversations mending decades of silence. Judy witnessed it all, her role pivotal. Logan's return cemented his commitment, not to business, but to family and love. The trio formed an unlikely unit, Henry sharing stories, Logan listening, Judy facilitating with music. Healing wasn't linear. Setbacks occurred, but songs bridged gaps. Judy's confidence returned. She resumed performing locally, Logan her biggest supporter. Their romance blossomed quietly. Walks, shared meals, plans for the future. The story's miracle wasn't just Henry's awakening, but the rebirth of connections thought lost forever. 1 year after Henry's miraculous awakening, the courtyard at St. Mary's Care Facility burst into vibrant life, as if spring itself had chosen to celebrate the renewal unfolding within its walls. Cherry blossoms and tulips bloomed in riotous color, their petals dancing in the gentle breeze, mirroring the quiet transformation that had touched 3 lives so profoundly. Henry Raymond, once confined to silence and stillness, now moved with the aid of a polished wooden cane, his steps deliberate but determined. Daily violin practice had become his ritual, fingers that once trembled from the stroke now regaining their former dexterity, coaxing notes from the strings with a depth born of gratitude rather than perfection. The scars of his illness lingered, slurred speech that required patience to decipher, waves of fatigue that forced afternoon rests, but music had restored his purpose, infusing each day with melody and meaning. Logan Raymond, at 34, had restructured his high-stakes tech empire to prioritize what truly mattered. Remote consultations and delegated responsibilities allowed him flexibility, freeing evenings for family. The penthouse overlooking the city skyline remained, but it now echoed with laughter and music rather than solitary conference calls. He balanced boardroom demands with heartfelt presence, a man forever changed by the power of a single song. Judy Thompson, thriving beyond her wildest hopes, had expanded her music therapy programs facility-wide. Her voice, once reserved for lonely nights in room 208, now served as a beacon for dozens of patients. She led group sessions in the common room, humming lullabies to those with dementia, guiding sing-alongs that brought fleeting clarity to clouded minds. Her warmth drew residents like moths to a gentle flame, reminding them, and herself, that beauty could flourish even in forgotten places. The trio's bond deepened into something sacred and unbreakable. Weekly dinners at Logan's home became tradition, candlelit tables laden with homemade meals, Henry's violin weaving through the air as Judy sang, Logan strumming acoustic guitar with growing confidence. Stories flowed freely, Henry recounting sold-out tours across Europe, the thrill of applause in Vienna halls, Logan opening up about childhood resentments, the loneliness of a boy left behind by ambition, now resolved through tearful, honest conversations. Judy shared her painful betrayal by Darren, finding catharsis in their unwavering support, her vulnerability met with empathy that healed old wounds. Together, they planned a concert as heartfelt gratitude to the facility that had witnessed their miracle. Rehearsals filled evenings with joy, fine-tuning harmonies, selecting songs that traced their journey. Word spread, drawing residents, staff, families, and even local media eager to capture a story of hope. The event transformed the common room into a haven of warmth. Handmade paper flowers adorned walls, a banner proclaimed, "An afternoon of music and miracles," and chairs formed a semicircle around a simple stage. Anticipation hummed as guests settled. Opening with Smile, the song that ignited everything, Henry's bow moved gracefully across the violin, slower than in his prime but rich with raw emotion. Judy's vocals soared, stronger and more assured, carrying the ache and triumph of their shared path. Logan's guitar provided steady harmony, grounding the melody like roots in fertile soil. Tears glistened in the audience's eyes. The performance evoked not just nostalgia, but profound healing. Midway through, Logan set down his guitar and paused, the room falling hushed. Kneeling before Judy, he pulled a small velvet box from his pocket. "Your voice brought light to my darkest corners," he said, voice trembling yet resolute. "It reached my father when nothing else could, and in doing so, it reached me, pulling me from isolation I didn't know trapped me. You don't wear armor. You wear light, and you've illuminated my life." Opening the box to reveal a simple gold ring with a single sapphire, he continued, I don't need empires or spotlights. I need you, your kindness, your song, your heart. Will you marry me? Judy's eyes brimmed with tears, a radiant smile breaking through. Yes, she whispered, nodding amid gasps and cheers. Logan slipped the ring on her finger, rising to embrace her. Henry, summoning strength, stood unassisted and crossed the stage, tears streaming as he joined their hands in his. Applause thundered, not merely for the music, but for love's quiet triumph over lost. Post-engagement, life accelerated in beautiful ways. Wedding plans intertwined with Henry's therapy milestones, speech improvements timed with invitation designs, mobility gains celebrated alongside venue choices. They married in the courtyard under blooming arches, intimate, with Henry's violin serenading guests, Judy's vows sung softly, like a private lullaby. Henry walked her down the aisle, a poignant full circle that left no dry eyes. Their honeymoon in Italy revisited Henry's old tour spots. Venice canals, Roman ruins, Tuscan hills alive with music festivals. It strengthened family ties, creating new memories atop old ones. Back home, Judy released an indie album of covers and originals, dedicating it to Henry and Logan. Modest acclaim followed, radio play, streaming success, reviving her career on her terms, free from past pitfalls. Logan funded a foundation for music therapy and elder care, inspired by Judy's impact, sponsoring programs nationwide. Henry revitalized, mentored young violinists, sharing wisdom earned through hardship. Challenges arose, Henry's health fluctuations requiring hospital stays, Logan's work pressures testing boundaries, Judy's performance anxieties resurfacing, but they faced them united. Music their anchor point. 2 years later, daughter Ella arrived, named after Ella Fitzgerald, her cries harmonizing with family lullabies from day one. The story spread via media, features in local papers, viral clips of the concert proposal. Judy's TED Talk on music's healing power amassed millions of views, emphasizing small acts' ripple effects, a caregiver's song sparking miracles. Logan's memoir detailed father-son reconciliation, crediting Judy's melody as the catalyst. Henry's final years brimmed with richness. He passed peacefully at 85, surrounded by loved ones, violin cradled like an old friend. His legacy endured through the foundation, touching countless lives with therapeutic notes. Judy and Logan, growing old together, sang to Ella and later grandchildren, passing the melody forward. This tale reminds us love often arrives disguised, in a caregiver's whisper, a hidden listener, a forgotten song rekindled amid silence. It proves hearts can mend, voids fill with harmony, and second chances bloom from unexpected, tender notes. AT's soulful stories. This narrative underscores quiet kindness's profound power. Like Judy's voice piercing Henry's void, it encourages reaching out, offering beauty even when unheard. In a noisy world, true connections form in stillness, where a single melody can change everything forever.